Welcome to my channel. My name is Judy, and I have so many things I just still want to talk about. But one of the things that has sort of been, I guess, on my mind to talk about is soulmates. And I talked already about spiritual partners, and I talked about soulmates part one. But there's another kind of soulmate, and sometimes these do get mixed up between spiritual partners and soulmates. There can be a confusion about those. Sometimes people think they're spiritual partners, they're soulmate, which, in some ways could also be true. But a soulmate, other than the person who you have balanced karma with that I talked about in the other video, this is soulmate part 2. Very easy to understand, a little bit harder to explain, and just go with me. I want to go back to the Big Bang in a way, when energy became like mass, and it was so compressed and so hot, it just blew up. We don't have to talk about the origins of that right now or anything. When that happened, I kind of compare it in some ways to what happens in our bodies on occasion, where, let's say, in my field as a childbirth educator, you have a sperm and you have an egg, and those two get together and they create one cell. So 1 + 1 equals 1, and now it's complete. But very quickly it starts to subdivide and turns into 2, and then 4, 8, 16, whatever, a million zillion. If you can imagine that these tiny subatomic particles of God, which is all energy, subdivided. All of them subdivided. They didn't keep subdividing, but there was a subdivision of them. And whether there's a plan, for that, if that's a plan, that came from God, or it just happened to be something that happened, I don't know. In some ways it makes sense that it was a plan, but then in other ways it's almost like maybe it's just something that happened. I don't know. I don't know whether we need to know. But I do know that a soul, a single soul, subdivided. So this one soul is 2, like 2 sides of a coin. And they long for each other, not romantically. This is beyond romance. This is soul. And so these souls, complete enough to land in bodies and make decisions and sometimes meet up with that other soul, but maybe they don't always recognize each other. It could be a very long story. But at some point, because every soul within us is half of another, and we wander through life yearning for the other half of ourselves. We don't even know that's what we're doing. There maybe is no conscious awareness of that for most of us in most lives. But we are still yearning and looking for that one that completes us. And at some point, maybe one soul recognizes the other one, but it's not mutual. And then one day, somehow, many stories, there's many stories of how this happens. You meet somebody on whatever level you meet them. When you recognize them. You don't know what you're recognizing half the time because most people don't think about these things. I know you. And they're not talking to Judy, you know. They're talking to what's inside. I know you. You can see them through their eyes. You recognize them. And you don't know why you recognize them sometimes. You know, there'll be people say, oh, I met this guy and it's just like I knew him forever and I don't know why I felt that way, but I just felt so close to him. We got along so well. We complemented each other perfectly. But there are those people who do recognize what it is. You know, and they'll even say, we're soulmates. Like, you're the other half of me. Now, I know that. And they don't even know how it happened. They don't know, maybe they're even thinking spiritual partner, soulmate kind of. They're not even realizing that they literally are half of you. And they say there's somebody out there for everybody. Well, I think that's true as far as soulmates are concerned. I think there is another half of you out there floating around, living lives, and you may have bumped into them before, but you didn't both recognize each other. And at some point, and it may be that the person who already knows who you are is calling to you from one soul to another. And you're, you know, you go and you do something, you go somewhere, you whatever. You don't know why you're so wanting to do that. I just really want to go to that show tonight. I don't know why, you know. But somewhere in your soul, it's hearing that call, please come. And you go and it takes your breath away. You recognize it. And most of us maybe don't know why we recognize the person. But we recognize them. It's our other half. And you long to be with that person, to be with them in any way, to talk with them, to walk with them. You know, it's beyond carnal stuff, you know, because it's soul. And you find where you belong. And once you both are aware of who you are to each other, you'll never, ever forget that. You'll always know each other. Even if you go on to live many other lives in separate ways and only bump into each other once in a while, you'll always know each other. And sometimes if they're out of body right now, they might wait for you. And when you get there, you can make some decisions on being in lives together, learning the lessons together, because at some point, when you're both grown, you both know, you both understand love, you again will become one. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Now you might be asking yourself, well, what's the point of all this? That's another video. So you can have a spiritual partner who's somebody who just really sees spiritual things the way you do, and you help each other to grow along the way. You can have a soulmate that is simply somebody you've lived a lot of lives with. You have completely balanced the karma between you, and now you can live a life with that person, not necessarily married or something, but just friends or whatever, but you believe in each other, you support each other, you're always there for each other. Like almost like good friends. And then there's the soulmate that is the other half of you. Literally the other half of you, your soul. And when you find them, you're complete. There's more to it. That's the basic stuff. That's the bottom line. And when you meet them, you know. You might not know the word soulmate. You might not know the word whole. You might not think of it that way, but oh, you know. You know. And there's such contentment and peace, belonging and love. It fills you. It's a beautiful thing. So, I hope that that's helped you understand a little bit about soulmates. There is, again, so much to say, but that's the basics. If you liked what I said, or at least you found it interesting, how about hitting that like button for me? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell too. I think I forgot to say that earlier. I hope you have a wonderful evening or day, whatever time it is there. I know I will. Thanks for listening.